Hey, welcome to Cooking is Fun with Larry. I'm about to show you my take on goulash. I make it a little different than some people do, but I'm going to show you my way and we'll go from there. First thing we want to do is we want to get our stuff cut up. I've got an onion. I've already got some of the onion cut up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the proper way of dicing this part of the onion so when you throw it in your hamburger to make your goulash, everything will be cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down the onion like this. And then we're going to put our hand on top of the onion and we're going to wiggle our knife through. Now this is going to give us even chunks. And then of course we want to keep our fingers out of the way. And then we just go through once a little bit. And there you got your chunks for your onion chunks for your hamburger. Now we're going to throw the onion in this bowl. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get our hamburger out. As you well know, you can go to any store and get the hamburger. I try to look for the cheapest, of course. But all right, now we've put our meat in the pan here. And I like to use high-sided pans. That way I don't have to be so careful with the hamburger when I'm cutting it up. A lot of people use a tomato mash or a potato masher to go ahead and break the meat up. I just prefer to use a spatula because I don't like to break it up in real small chunks. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break up my hamburger. I'm going to let it start cooking. And that's another thing I do. I don't throw my onions and stuff in right away. What I do is I like to let the meat start cooking, and I'm not even going to put the seasonings in while I'm frying my hamburger, because when you drain your hamburger, a lot of the seasonings that you put into it already is going to go out with when you drain it. So what I like doing is I like cooking my meat, and just before the meat gets done, I throw my onions in, and then when everything is done, then I put my seasonings in. That way I don't drain all my seasonings off. So I'm just going to check the meat here. I'm going to give it a little toss here. And yeah, I've been cooking for probably close to about 30 years. My grandfather's the one that got me interested in cooking. He was a merchant marine, and he was a chef. And when he pulled into he did the Great Lakes, and when he pulled into a port in Canada, he met my grandmother, and they started courting, and that's how he got off the ships, and then they got married, and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's how I started cooking. My grandfather, I have a lot of influence. My grandfather influenced me a lot, so a lot of my cooking has got to do with him. So what we're doing is we're just trying to get this meat done. I should have started it a little bit earlier, but I didn't. I wanted you to see everything. So we got that going. Now what I can do is I can go over and grab my spices and get them ready while this is cooking. And I got my macaroni right here that I'm going to be, well, I can throw that in, get that going. We'll throw this macaroni, well, I got a mess to clean up, I see, but hey, a good cook's always got some type of a mess to clean up. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. Now this is not something that you have to do. It's something I like to do. I'm gonna salt my water because this is the only chance that you get to salt your pasta. I like seasoning it, so I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in there. You always want to give it a little judge, a little stir, so it doesn't, because it'll always stick when you put it in the water first. It's always going to stick together. So what you want to do is you want to give it just a little bit of a stir so that you can knock it away. Now we're going to go and we're going to get the onions. We're going to take our onions. We're going to throw it in here because you want them to get tender, but you don't want them to get so tender that they just kind of, you want a little, I like a little texture. Not going to have a lot, but you are going to have a little texture. I like a little texture in what I eat. Let me give this another little stir myself here. Start the timer. All pasta usually takes about 10 minutes to boil up, so I set the clock for the timer for 10 minutes. Okay, now we've got our meat all browned up, all cooked. I've got it drained. I've got my macaroni all boiled. I'm sitting here draining. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the ketchup, and I just whatever ketchup you like is fine. And we're gonna, I love ketchup. Then we're gonna open this one up because I need a little more ketchup. Now, what I do, and a lot of other people don't, is I put barbecue sauce in it. It gives it a little nudge, and I think it's good. And I make and I can my own barbecue sauce, but you can use any barbecue sauce that you have on hand, whatever you want to use. And I don't put a whole lot in. I just put a little bit like that, and that's going to be it, right like that. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use garlic powder. I do use garlic salt every once in a while, but the powder's better because I use a lot of salt in some of my cooking, and I don't like to add salt with the garlic. So the time that I use the garlic salt is the times that I don't use regular salt. Well, I used regular salt in my noodles today, so I'm going to use the garlic powder. Now, we don't need a whole lot, so we're just going to trinkle that in just a little bit. That's almost too much as it is. Now we're going to stir it up. We're going to get it all stirred up, and then we're going to throw our noodles in. We're going to need a little more ketchup here. Yeah, that should do it. Now we get this mixed up. We're going to put our noodles in. And another thing might want to add, a lot of people put green pepper in their goulash. Me, myself, I prefer not to use the green pepper because green pepper is a very, very strong flavor. And I'm trying to keep these flavors on just on a medium thing there. So we're going to take our noodles. We're going to go ahead and dump them in here. And another thing, if you ever can get a hold of one of these pasta pans, they're real, real good because you ain't got to worry about dumping them into a colander or nothing. You just lift it up, balance it on the pan like that, let it go, and you can let it sit there and drain. Now, we're going to mix this up. Yeah, sometimes the mixing takes a minute. Well, we may have to add a little more ketchup. Let's see when we get it mixed. Oh, maybe, yeah, we're going to have to add just a hair more ketchup. And that's the thing. I don't go by, well, I need 6 cups of ketchup and a teaspoon of barbecue sauce. What I do is I add it, and then I mix it up. I put everything together. I mix it up, and I take a look at what I got. If I think I need more, then I go ahead and get more. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to walk over the table. I'm going to put it in this bowl, and then we're going to give you a real good look at what the product looks like. We're just going to dump it in here. And you can also make garlic bread to go with this, or regular bread. And there we go. And this is my take on goulash.